What's up everybody, this is Ven, and I welcome you to the M.O.C Spotlight, where we take apart what you build. For today's episode, we will be going over the apparent Master of Bionicle. Yes, you heard it here folks, it's not Tahu, Master of Fire, it's not Gali, Master S of Water, it's not Pohatu, Master of Stones, it is the Master of Bionicle. Created by Trasponder and posted on the M.O.C pages. Now some of you may be asking yourselves, what the heck makes this the Master of Bionicle? Well, that's what we're going to find out today, by going over 3 fundamental attributes: the overall appearance of the M.O.C, the build of the M.O.C itself, and the concept and ideas behind the M.O.C's creation. Each quality will amount up to 5 points, building up to a final score that will be determined at the end of the episode. Please remember, this is all going to be based on my opinion, so feel free to construct your own and post them in the comments if you want. Anyway, Master of Bionicle here. Wow, this is quite interesting. First, right off the bat, I have to say that is one interesting torso build, very elongated. I appreciate the little design here that the guy was going for. First thing I noticed besides that was the legs. I don't know why, that seems to be a common theme with all these M.O.Cs. For some reason I'm always fascinated by the legs, but I guess it's with good reason. I mean, just look at these, the way they're designed and the way they look. These are very unique. Gotta say that the legs are definitely my favorite part about this M.O.C, and probably the best looking part about this M.O.C. I'm not really a big fan of the torso, it seems a bit too long. I feel like if the dude just kind of shrunk it down a little bit around the waist area, it would look a lot better. But as it stands right now, these proportions are pretty far out, dude. The torso also appears a bit gappy, so that's another criticism I'll have for it. Meanwhile, the arms look okay. Maybe a little bit clunky around the shoulder area, but the forearms look okay, and the entirety of the arms look okay. One little thing that I do like about this M.O.C is that there's a sort of consistency with these hydraulic pieces being used in both the torso and the legs. I'll mention these again when I get to talking about the build, but the way they look and the way they were applied to the appearance of this M.O.C, it's a pretty well done job. I noticed that this so-called Master of Bionicle has not only Axon's mask, but also Axon's chest armor. He uses the same pieces in what looks to be quite the similar configuration. It actually doesn't look bad. It flows with the rest of the M.O.C fairly well, though it does beg the question if this M.O.C was influenced by Axon or if it was supposed to be I'll get to that later. Right now, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the build. I think I've said what I need to say about the appearance of this M.O.C. So, moving on, I want to get back to talking about those hydraulics. As you can see, these legs were built quite interestingly. Can't say I've really seen too many humanoid builds with these kind of legs. But anyway, they look like they can hold up the M.O.C fairly well, despite their otherworldly appearance. I mean, this is quite the mess of parts we have put together here in the legs, but surprisingly, it all looks sturdy and solid, and I think the hydraulics really help in that regard. For without those hydraulics, I feel like it'd be a bit harder to make this M.O.C stand straight with these kind of legs. And then moving up to the torso, which is strangely elongated, I have to say that the hydraulics are both necessary and unnecessary. I'll explain why. The reason why I say they're unnecessary is because I feel like if this guy had just made the torso properly proportioned with the rest of the body, like instead of making it as long as it is, he just shortened down the torso a bit, then these hydraulics would probably be redundant to have. Because it looks like the only reason why these hydraulics are here is because the torso was built so elongated. So in a build like this, it is necessary. And despite my issues with the torso design, overall, it looks pretty well put together and very well structured. Above all else, I think the build of this M.O.C is where this M.O.C really stands tall. And literally. because as you can see, this M.O.C is fully capable of posing in several different ways. So it looks like a really stable action figure. And with that said, it also doesn't look like there's anything that would pop off of this M.O.C either. All the parts seem to be put together in an almost compact fashion. So there's not really anything loose hanging around that looks like it could pop off or nothing. This M.O.C's got a pretty solid build overall. And with that, I would like to talk about the concepts for a bit. And so, as I mentioned earlier, this M.O.C seems to be inspired by Axon. If this wasn't called Master of Bionicle, I would instantly assume that it was supposed to be some sort of Axon revamp look. Not only does he have the mask and the chest armor up on the top part of the torso, but he also has his own axe. What do you know? Just like Axon. The main difference, of course, being the colors, where there's a lot of silver and it's accompanied by Mata Blue. Whereas on Axon, the set, there was, as you can see, a balance between silver and the dark red. So all of this, plus the fact that the description of this M.O.C was posted in a different language that I do not understand, I don't know. I'm really not sure what the explanation is for this M.O.C's design. But I will say, as far as being a quote-unquote master of Bionicle, I can definitely see that this guy was going for a sort of dominating-looking Titan-esque figure. It looks like he tried to portray some sense of power. At least that's the impression I get from this M.O.C's design. I mean, he's big, he's got a big weapon. He did a pretty good job on the M.O.C overall. But I personally think it's a little far from claiming the status of the master of the biological chronicle, whatever that's even supposed to mean. And that's another thing that I'm really unsure of. I don't know what this guy means by master of Bionicle. What does that mean? How is he a master of the biological chronicle? Will I ever know? I don't know. I don't know this guy. There's no way I can communicate with him, I don't think, because I don't speak his language. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and move on to the final scores here. So, Master of Bionicle, in terms of appearance, receives a 3 out of 5. It's not a bad M.O.C by any means. I just think the proportions are fairly odd, and I'm not really sure if I dig the whole Axon look. Also, the silver and blue color scheme's a bit bland. I don't know. All in all, I feel like this M.O.C could have looked a lot better. Now, the build of this M.O.C receives a 4 out of 5. As I said earlier, this M.O.C's got a pretty solid build, but what docks it off the perfect score is this dilemma with the torso, where if it was designed a bit differently, it probably wouldn't require the placement of these hydraulics. I don't know, that torso just really bugs me. And then the concept and ideas behind this M.O.C receive a 3 out of 5. The builder's ideas were executed fairly well for the most part. He came up with a pretty good M.O.C. It's got a nice build, it appears okay, but it doesn't come off to me as the master of really whatever it's supposed to be a master of. Maybe it's supposed to be Axon, master of axes. Maybe that's what this guy had in mind when he thought of Master of Bionicle. He just thought Master of Axon or something. Again, I'm really not sure. So, to wrap up the review of this M.O.C, I give it the final score of 10 out of 15. It's not a bad M.O.C, no buts about it. It's an okay M.O.C, and I've provided reasons why I think it's okay. And I think to make it a better M.O.C, the proportions could have used some work, the colors could have come off a bit more interesting, and the whole Axon thing, I think the dude probably could have designed something a bit more original in appearance. Regardless, good job, Trasponder. Not bad at all. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and if you want a high possibility of having your M.O.C featured on the M.O.C Spotlight, please post it to our message boards, which is linked in the description below, where it'll make it a lot easier for me to find it. See ya.